a slight lag, but we're straight to it, baby. We're here. We're live. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. Like, comment, and subscribe. Earlier today, we did a video. Are the Kardashians looking for attention, media attention, to distract away from the Kanye um, documentary that was put out? I don't know if it's per him by Kanye or somebody else that followed him. We don't know. But here nor there, the Kardashians are looking for media attention and people are giving it to them because many people feel that the children should be protected from the media. But if they don't want to protect them, that's a concern and that's where people are calling them out. Not calling out Nor, many people are calling out Kim and Kanye because Kanye is at fault too because of how Kanye dresses Bianca. So allow me a few seconds to get into my system. We're going to talk hot topics, trending topics. What's Elon, of course, and we're going to get to that. So, like the video as you guys come in, support the channel by liking the video, hitting the subscribe button, and we're going to go from there. But I thank everyone for being here and supporting the channel. So, way I can do my disclaimer, and then we're going to get straight into the video. But like the video as you guys come in, thanks for being here, and thanks for supporting. I'll probably have to change the picture later. That's okay. All comments are allegedly, period. Please hit the like button, period. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. So we're going to go ahead and get to our first video as I set things up on my side. But thank you for being here and thank you for supporting. I appreciate everyone for being here and I appreciate everyone supporting. We're going to get straight into it. Hold on. Like the video as you guys come in and thanks for being here. Let's get straight into it.
It's a partisan project that he will go to Democrat-run cities. He has mentioned Baltimore. Joining us now is Maryland Governor Wes Moore. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to have you. Let's start with what's happening to the entire Minnesota families, all those families. We just want to let them know that everyone in Maryland is here with them and thinking of them, and they're in our hearts. And I think it actually, when I think about the president's comments that he literally made from the Oval Office yesterday, where he was talking about how this is a good political issue for them to use and utilize when it comes to the midterm elections. One thing that is, and again, as we hear it, for all of us who had to live and exist in these grow up in communities where we knew that our safety was not a concern. For people in very high perches and people who were in power, for people who knew they spoke about us and never having conversations with us, that unfortunately the comments of the President of the United States just validates what so many of us felt as we were coming, that there actually is not a concern about our safety, that this is just a game. And it rings incredibly frustrating for those of us who actually are serious about this work. When I first came on board, I remember the year before I became the governor in 2022, Baltimore City was averaging almost a homicide a day. That for the 8 years under my predecessor, we saw the homicide rate nearly double, the non-fatal shooting rate did double, and we came in philosophy about the way we're going to address violence and public safety in our community, that we're going to work with local elected officials like the mayor and the state's attorney, and we made historic investments in local law enforcement, historic investments in technology, historic investments in the community, and has produced not just encouraging results, but historic drops in violent crime in Baltimore City. It's because we actually take the work seriously, and we're not seeing that from the White House right now.
Understood, and that goes to how you're approaching it locally within your authorities. When you look at what the president is suggesting, we have the list of many of the cities. It's hard not to notice how many are led by Black American leaders. Do you view this, and do you think there's enough evidence to suggest that this is part of the targeting and sort of a race-baiting fight that he wants?
Well, I think we are watching consistent trends that we have seen, so it kind of tracks with the President of the United States, and it's the reason why I actually invited him. And I said, come to Baltimore, because, especially when ignorant comments are made, the only way to address ignorance is education. So come and learn. Come and spend time in our communities. Come and spend time with community violence intervention groups like We Are Us, who are actually on the ground doing the work. Come and spend time with our local law enforcement who are on the beat. Come and spend time with the mayor and the state's attorney, and come see what we see as we walk our communities every single day. And of course, the response that I received from the president of the United States with his laughing crowd around him was just simply making a snide personal comment about me. And so it does become very frustrating when we actually know what can work. We know that instead of doing things like cutting $30 million of gun violence prevention, like the president has just done for the state of Maryland, that we know if he could do things like invest in license plate readers and actually pass federal legislation that bans ghost guns, things we've been calling for, but they've just scoffed off because they said bring in the National Guard to pick up litter is somehow a better strategy to fight crime inside of our society. We know that there is a better way, and we know that if we actually had a partner inside of Washington, we could demonstrate what a better way looks like to continue producing the kind of results that the people in our communities hope for.
You mentioned sort of his personal approach, and he's been on both sides of it, kind of attacking you, but then also invoking your support, which I guess it means if you did think highly of him, that would be a positive. That's usually right why people invoke certain support. And again, some viewers may have heard about this. I got you on, so I'm going to ask. You have the headline: Trump falsely claims Governor Moore called him the greatest president. In terms of how lies work, it sounds like more so the way he talks and the way you talk. But I guess my question is to have you on record here. Was he lying? And what does it tell you that he would want people to think that you like him?
Yeah, we'll have breaking news on the show today. The president's lying. And I know that's shocking for a lot of voters to hear that. But actually what happened was when he first came up, the very first words out of his mouth was, he told me that I was a really good-looking guy, and I was really good-looking in person, too. And then he proceeded to say that my people are telling me that you're doing fantastic work. And he said, how can I help? And I started talking about the bridge. Then I told him how a year and a half ago, how we had one of the most tragic moments in our state's history, and we've been able to really give a case study on how to respond in these moments of crisis, to move with speed but also humanity. And I told him that we would really love his continued support. And it's ironic now that this is the week that he then decides that he wants to threaten us with taking away bridge financing, despite the fact that he never gave it to us in the first place.
Yeah, we have that headline on the bridge financing. You know, Governor, it's funny. It's the way we live, right? That you're telling us that the president said to you, you're good looking in person. It's just such a funny way for politicians to relate. I'm reminded of J Rock. You ever listen to J Rock?
Yes, of course.
Who said, "Don't hit me when I'm working." She said, "I look way better in person." And Trump giving you that energy. And we're not refereeing it. We're just reporting it. So that's part of your relationship. Broadening out.
Well, it's kind of like Kendrick when I say to the president, "You don't tell lies about me, and I won't tell the truth about you."
Hey.
Hey.
Unlike us, which talk about how it all comes together. That line was popularized by Adlai Stevenson, an old school Democrat. So it's all full circle today. You know, I mentioned earlier in the program. I know you're not going to make any other news about politics, but it's no secret the Democrats are looking around. There's a view that maybe they want a strong governor figure who is standing up to this administration. And I don't think you're the only name, but it's no secret that you and Governor Newsom, maybe Pritzker, are some of the names we're seeing circulated. How do you take that? Can you answer this question without giving us the usual talking points? You know, you're honored and busy and focused on work. People are hungry for leadership. Democrats see a lot of DC leaders who they don't think are fighting hard enough or inventive enough. So walk us through how you see all that, knowing all the caveats that, of course, you're busy with your day job.
Well, no, what I say is, I mean, the people of my state, they need me now. And I'm locked in. Because these are not glancing blows that are coming to the state of Maryland. These are direct shots. When the President of the United States has now fired over 12,000 Marylanders who are federal workers, people who are doing things like making sure that our food is safe and making sure that our critical infrastructure is protected. When the President of the United States looks at historic floods taking place in Western Maryland, and when we put in for federal disaster relief support, which we qualified for, and we simply get a response from the White House saying support for Maryland is not warranted. When we get an FBI building that we worked for 10 years and across all quantitative levels to say should be going to the state of Maryland, and the President of the United States says the FBI building is not going to Maryland because it is a liberal state. Like the president, like we are being attacked by the federal government right now. And my people need to understand, and they know that, listen, I don't come from the world of politics. I'm a soldier, and I'm standing my guard. And we are locked in to make sure that our people will continue to grow and thrive and succeed in this moment, despite the fact that we're watching a federal government who seems to make my communities and our neighborhoods some kind of punchline, instead of understanding that when you're talking about the people of Baltimore, what you are forgetting is they're also Americans too. And they hear you loud and clear.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. We're just talking a few hot topics, trending topics, and what's going on in the world. Like the videos, you guys come in. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the channel. Let's continue.
Say this is legally deficient that she remains as CDC director, at least 4.
The White House says it has fired CDC Director Susan Monterez less than 1 month after she was confirmed by the Senate. 1 month. That was quick. It follows a dramatic back and forth in which Monterez was pressured to leave the agency after reportedly clashing with Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over vaccine policy. But she refused to resign. The Washington Post reports Monterez was pressed for days over whether she would support rescinding certain approvals for coronavirus vaccines. Then, in a social media post last night, the Department of Health and Human Services announced Monterez was no longer the director of the CDC. But just hours later, her lawyers responded saying she had not resigned or been fired, writing in part, quote, when she refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fired dedicated health experts, she chose protecting the public over serving a political agenda. For that, she has been targeted. She will not resign. The White House responded with a statement formally terminating Monterez, arguing she is not aligned with the president's agenda of making America healthy again.
So wait.
Because he loved his warp speed.
Donald Trump's agenda is to
He
undermine
made the
Donald Trump's one of his greatest achievements.
He took
Operation Warp
responsibility
Speed.
for making the vaccine available to America and opening up America again.
And the world.
Making it safe.
So the White House is now against that? He was touting it 2 days ago at that cabinet meeting.
Well,
He went on
because it
long
was a big
speech
deal.
about how great it was.
You
Because
can't
it
argue.
was. And now people are getting fired for agreeing with the president?
It's like, that's chaos.
Wow. So
That's-
lawyers for Monterez say this is legally deficient that she remains as CDC director. At least 4 top officials at the agency have announced their resignations, one saying he no longer can serve in the role because of the ongoing weaponization of public health by Bobby Kennedy Jr. Joining us now, Washington correspondent for the New York Times, covering the intersection of health policy and politics, Cheryl Gay Stolberg. This is all a little bit confusing. Can you kind of take us back through this and remind our viewers that, yes, the CDC director was confirmed by this Republican Senate, that this was not a Biden holdover. This isn't somebody that they opposed a minute ago and now do. So what's going on here?
Well, a lot of chaos, as I think Mika said. Yes, this CDC director, Dr. Susan Monterez, was confirmed by a Republican Senate. She's an appointee of President Trump. She serves at the pleasure of the president. Kennedy obviously wants her out. They've been tussling back and forth for days. My sources tell me that Kennedy summoned her to his office on Monday and said either she had to clear out the top ranks of CDC leadership and accept their advisory committee's recommendations on vaccines, or she was going to be fired. She refused to go. She called Senator Bill Cassidy, the chairman of the Senate Health Committee. He, in turn, called Kennedy. Kennedy was angry. Kennedy summoned her back on Tuesday and said, "You've got to go." And the long and the short of it is the White House now says she's been fired. I just updated my story because shortly after midnight, her lawyers said that the firing is completely deficient, that she serves at the pleasure of the president. Only President Trump can fire her. He hasn't made an announcement, so I think the ball is now in President Trump's court. I'm going to be interested in seeing what is he going to say today. Is he going to come out and fire this woman that he picked and stand with Bobby Kennedy, or not?
So Cheryl, let's be specific about this point of conflict and the vaccines that Bobby Kennedy Jr. and others want to get rid of, and that the CDC director appears to be defending. What are we talking about here? Which vaccines?
Well, I think we're talking certainly about coronavirus vaccines, which we saw yesterday. The FDA limited recommendations. They approved the new vaccine, but they narrowed down who can take it. It's unclear what other vaccines we might be talking about. And I say that because we also know that the secretary has said there will be a forthcoming report on the causes of autism. And as you and I know, the secretary has embraced the theory, which has been discredited, that autism caused by vaccines. We're all waiting for that report. It's being written by someone who has also embraced the vaccine autism theory. And so who knows what is coming next? And it may well be that his clash with Susan Monterez is in anticipation of that forthcoming report.
You see collectibles, I see years of blood, sweat, and tears in one single moment. So step on the court.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video. Let's hear what he has to say about Elon.
Maybe someday if you have a hydrogen car, it has one problem, it blows up, you know? So I'm going to give that one to Peter. So let Peter test it out. The hydrogen cars, and when they blow up, it's serious. They find you blocks away, that way. I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible? He gets a lot of subsidies, Peter. But Elon's very upset that the EV mandate is to be terminated. And you know what? When you look at it, not everybody wants an electric car. I don't want an electric car. I want to have maybe gasoline, maybe electric, maybe a hybrid, maybe someday a hydrogen. If you have a hydrogen car, it has one problem. It blows up. The hydrogen cars, and when they blow up, it's serious. They find you 5 blocks away. I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible? He gets a lot of subsidies, Peter. But Elon's very upset that the EV mandate is going to be terminated. And you know what? When you look at it, not everybody wants an electric car. I don't want an electric car. I want to have maybe gasoline, maybe electric, maybe a hybrid, maybe someday a hydrogen. If you have a hydrogen car, it has one problem. It blows up.
President of these United States wants to be a dictator. He is trying to be a dictator. He said it multiple times this week. Today he explained why a lot of people, I think in his own head, think he should be a dictator because he's stopping all the crimes.
So the line is that I'm a dictator when I stop crime. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. I just try to stop crime.
Yes, Donald Trump, tough on crime. It just depends on who's doing the crime, doesn't it? Beyond all his administration's Washington and members of the U.S. military, Donald Trump is the most unabashedly pro-criminal, pro-crime president of my lifetime. In fact, I started compiling this list of all the people that Donald Trump has pardoned or come to the aid of just since taking office in January, and it is mind-boggling. On his first day in office, Donald Trump pardoned every last one of the January 6th insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol and attempted a coup against the U.S. government on his behalf. Roughly 1,500 convicted or suspected accused criminals. They included hundreds who were handed lengthy sentences for very serious felonies, such as assaulting police with deadly weapons. Many of those rioters have had, maybe you won't be shocked to hear this, serious brushes with the law since they were pardoned. Andrew Tate is one example. He used a metal whip and bear spray to assault police officers at the Capitol. He was sentenced to 6 years after bragging about these crimes to a woman on a dating app. 2 weeks after being pardoned by Trump and freed from prison, he was arrested in Texas for soliciting a minor for sex.
What? Like the video, like the video. Fair use reaction clip.
It may be time to say
like the videos you guys come in. Fair use reaction clip.
Soliciting a minor for sex.
Allegedly.
Then on the second day of his presidency, Donald Trump pardoned Ross Ulbricht, founder of the Silk Road and online black market for drug dealing. The guy took hundreds of millions in commissions on sales of methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, and other opioids. I mean, you could make a case he was the biggest drug dealer in American history. He was serving 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole when Donald Trump pardoned him unconditionally. On his third day in office, Trump pardoned Washington, D.C. police officer Terrence Sutton and Lieutenant Andrew Zabotsky. Sutton illegally chased a 20-year-old man on a moped for 10 blocks. He struck another car and died in the crash. The 2 officers then tried to cover up their role in his death. They were sentenced to hard time for obstructing justice. Trump pardoned them, falsely claiming the motorist they had killed was illegal. They have since been reinstated to the D.C. police force. Trump also pardoned former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, convicted on 17 counts of corruption, including an attempt that we all remember and all heard to sell off Barack Obama's former Senate seat. Trump pardoned him using the former Democrats' criminal cases as a way to discount the myriad investigations, indictments, and convictions that he faced. He pardoned Brian Kelsey, former Tennessee state senator, a guy who was 2 weeks into a 21-month sentence for a campaign finance fraud when Trump pardoned him. He illegally funneled nearly $100,000 into a failed congressional campaign. In May, Trump pardoned Todd and Julie Chrisley, TV reality stars who were serving federal prison sentences for wire and bank fraud. The lavish lifestyle they flaunted on air was apparently bankrolled by fraudulent bank loans the couple hid from tax authorities. They were two of nearly 24 convicted fraudsters, thieves, and drug dealers Trump pardoned him. He was sentenced to federal prison.
Like the video, like the video. Fair use reaction clip. Like the videos you guys come in. I am surprised that these people that they're reporting on have had or still have issues. Like the videos you guys come in.
Last year, he donated $1.8 million to Donald Trump's campaign, and Trump pardoned him in March. Thanks against that pardon, Bill will not need to compensate his shareholders who lost millions. Now, that is just a partial list of Trump's pardons since he took office 7 months ago. It's a wild list. It's unlike any list I've ever seen or ever covered. But in that time, he has also gone out of his way to accommodate some of the worst accused and convicted criminals you can imagine. Like the manosphere influencers, Andrew and Tristan Tate, who have been accused in multiple countries of rape, human trafficking, and sex with minors. In fact, they have been held for when allies in the Trump administration worked to have them repatriated to the U.S., and within weeks of being at home, Andrew Tate, who denies the many, many horrible charges against him, faced new legal trouble.
In a civil suit filed in Los Angeles this week, model Bree
Yes, over here we cover it all. Like the video as you guys come in.
Stern accusing Tate of sexually assaulting and choking her at the Beverly Hills Hotel earlier this month. Stern sitting down with from Los Angeles in her first interview about that night.
Talk to me about what was going through your mind in that moment. I was scared to death. I was terrified that I might die.
Remember, the Trump administration went out of their way to get the Tates and bring them into the U.S. And it's also important to remember, even as Trump and his aides were falsely accusing hundreds of men, from hairdressers to soccer enthusiasts, of being hardcore MS-13 gang members and disappearing them from the country, the federal prosecutors under Trump are now quietly dropping charges against the actual bona fide leaders of that gang they spent years pursuing and charging. In fact, Trump is actually freeing those gang leaders and sending them to El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele. And the Trump administration may be doing it to cover up corruption. According to a New York Times investigation, U.S. prosecutors have amassed substantial evidence of a corrupt pact between the Salvadoran government and some high-ranking MS-13 leaders who they say agreed to drive down violence and bolster Bukele in exchange for cash and perks in jail. Don't forget, Trump also intervened on the behalf of a man named Dahoud Hanid Ortiz, a U.S.-Venezuelan dual citizen who returned here as part of that prisoner swap from Venezuela last month. This individual was convicted of bludgeoning 3 people to death in an office in Spain where he was looking for a man he suspected of sleeping with his ex-girlfriend. He murdered 3 people, according to Venezuelan courts. He was charged in Madrid. He was brought back and freed by Donald Trump. According to the most recent reporting, whereabouts unknown, just out in the country. And then, of course, there's Ghislaine Maxwell, the Palm Beach socialite who recruited and groomed young women for child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Many of Epstein's accusers say Maxwell also abused them personally. She knows as much as anyone alive about Epstein's depraved crimes and his associates, and the Trump administration moved her to a minimum security prison against existing federal prison policy, giving her an extraordinary waiver to be in a prison she couldn't be in because she's a sex offender. After interviewing her for 2 days and getting her on tape saying she never saw Donald Trump be anything but a perfect gentleman.
Like the video, fair use, reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Let's continue, fair use.
The criminal, an unbelievable list of people who have done truly awful things, most of them convicted felons, some accused of doing truly awful things. Each one of these alone would be a scandal that wrecked another administration. Do you remember the single Willie Horton ad in 1988? And all that list of all these people, I mean, MS-13 kingpins, people convicted of a triple homicide, a woman who's the accomplice of the most notorious sex trafficker in American history. They all come from the man who claims he's undoing American carnage, fixing a rampant crime problem that largely exists only in his mind and serves, obviously, as a pretext for targeting his political enemies. Whoever they may be, targeting people like recently, and we'll get into this later, Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook claiming she committed mortgage fraud, needs to be fired, or raiding John Bolton's home and office, saying he mishandled classified information, threatening to reopen the Bridgegate investigation because former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie criticized him on TV. Right? All these people that are his enemies are criminals, or backing criminals. And he claims that so he can seek retribution. A rhetorical exercise that flies in the face of reality and the statistics. I mean, what's crazy about this right now, as opposed to, say, 2020, 2021, when we saw a big spike in crime around the country, is we are in the midst of, under the last 2 years of the Biden administration and the first 8-9 months of this year having nothing to do with Donald Trump, historic, and really genuinely encouraging huge drops in crime, both violent and nonviolent. But that doesn't matter. He spent a decade saying the opposite of what we know to be true. There has never been a president in recent American history who has gone out of his way, who has done more to free more, accommodate more crimes than Donald Trump.
Like the video, baby. Okay, you guys, I wanted to cover some Donald Trump news. I may come back and do another Hot Topics trending topics. We've been live for about 25 minutes. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If all 35 people hit subscribe, that'll be great. I just need to do a Trump update. And it's very interesting how some of the people that have been released under his presidential campaign. Many people are side-eyeing that. What do you guys think about some of the people that have been pardoned? Did he do a great job pardoning those people? Did he not? Let me know in the comments. We cover everything, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, in regards to what's going on in the world. So, like the video, subscribe to the page, continue to hit the like button. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21, where we cover hot topics, trending topics, and what's going on in the world, what's going on in Instagram, Twitter, and what's being talked about. So thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. Focus on healthy, safe relationships. Be around people that's loving, kind, and respectful. Everyone have a great day. Goodbye.